wise, and everybody's asked about Austin. Austin's continued to improve. Did some, one of the reasons we took him with us on Saturday was obviously we thought he'd be able to add certain things, but really until Thursday or Friday last week, where the Wolves totally ruled out that he wasn't going to be able to play from the line of scrimmage. We typically make our travel roster on Wednesday, so our idea was to take him with us then, and at that point, we made a decision to bring him with us and help us with Cole on the sideline. Cole got all the reps last week as the one. Ty was all the week as a two, but Austin really did a nice job during the course of the game. I thought to help Cole handle the game and go with us, but Austin's a little bit different situation this week. There is a chance by the end of the week, but don't know that till that time comes. Until then, we'll just continue to rep with Cole and Ty. Jack Lindsey was our typically on game day, our third string quarterback that went in there for us. Jeremy Gibson was a guy that we didn't know until last week, also until Thursday or Friday, how much he was going to be able to. He really surprised a lot of people being able to go back in there. I think overall did some good things, but you could tell he wasn't probably the 100% that he was. I think that the thing was he felt that way going the game, and he's 100% this week and be with us all this week during practice. I should say this, he's 100% at game time. He just wasn't able to go a normal practice week. So, and then Jeremy Patton, unfortunately, on I think it was Wednesday later afternoon practice, got caught and rolled up, piled up during an inside drill, tweaked his ankle pretty good. Was a chance of him playing on Saturday. We booted him up, and he was unable to go, but should be back with us. Limited practice today, tomorrow, and then hopefully be back with us full go by Saturday. A number of guys had some bangs and bruises from Saturday, but overall that should be just those three I mentioned carrying forward from last week. The only concerns we have, nothing new or significant that came out of the game that would limit our guys moving forward. So take a look at the film. Obviously, kind of like what we knew on Saturday, there was a lot of opportunities that we could have maybe did a little bit better on offense, defense, special teams. I think there were a lot of positives from the standpoint of some young receivers making some plays. Obviously, a first-start quarterback that really showed no signs of flinching an inch. I knew he was going to have tremendous confidence. I think we got to do a better job of supporting him around him at all positions, O-line, tight ends, running backs, wide receivers, and coaches. So that part is there. I do think he's an infectious player. Our defense also, obviously you start the game off with a big play, that big run. They put together a number of really good plays. After that, we obviously had the turnover off the exchange of the punt unit that gave them the ball deep in their territory. They stood that up for 3 points and then really stayed pretty balanced until the end of the half. And unfortunately, gave up that score. But I did like the way we did want to go tempo. Even before Alabama scored their last play before the half, we knew we wanted to go 2 minute and put Cole in a situation to go out there and play with that. He thrived in the moment. Obviously, had the big play to Jordan Jones, who I think learned a lot on that play himself. Got behind two of their defenders. Cole hit him in stride, and could be a big play there, but battled back, used the clock efficiently, responded very well before the half. Unfortunately, didn't get a break right there going in, which would have been huge. Came out, got the pick in the second half, and if we could have flourished on that, did get three, but there's a 10 to 14 point swing there that was big in the ball game. We just got to make those plays happen if you're getting a chance to stay toe to toe with the number one team. So I think our guys learned a lot about themselves. I'm excited about the week just from the standpoint, our guys have been here, done that, have responded very well. That no one questions their fight or their attitude. Personally, we've been here. We were 2-4, kind of almost in the exact same situation a couple of years back, and responded very well down the stretch, winning 5 or 6 or 6 or 7, whatever it was that we battled back on, starting with this game against Auburn. So I'm excited. Guys continue to make improvements. It's nowhere we want to be, but obviously no new going in. That there are some young guys who are going to have some growing pains, and unfortunately we all suffered through them, and have some guys that are now getting healthy. The 3 season-ending injuries are obviously still there, but hopefully we'll kind of get better as we move forward. So guys playing well on defense too. Scooter continues to play well. Cam Curl has absolutely been just incredibly awesome the way he's battled and competed and came forward, and some of the new guys up front. TJ Smith's playing fairly well. Burston Guidry came in and did some nice stuff. Sosa's playing for a guy that's got staples in the leg, and just continues to amaze me. His toughness to get a little banged up, go in, take care of it, come back out, and play the way he does is pretty impressive. So a lot of positives going in the right direction. With that, open up questions.
Welcome in. It's our Monday edition of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins Sports Talk Radio, brought to you each and every day here live by Lindsay & Associates, with locations in Fayetteville, locations also too in Rogers. Lindsay & Associates, where we bring great neighbors together. It's also brought to you by Locomotion. You can catch them just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville, and also to Fun City. You can catch them off the 412 bypass in Springdale, Arkansas. If you don't get a chance to catch us each and every day, Monday through Friday of On the Hill, our live stream, you can catch us on iHeartRadio as we podcast each and every day's top segment of OTH Monday through Friday on iHeartRadio. You can catch those segments in the evenings, just if you want to get a little late dinner, cup of coffee, and just plop down. Check us out. You can catch us on iHeartRadio. We came in with a little opening audio as we do our preempted Monday shows. We call it Hog Talking, where we give you the day's synopsis of the past weekend's game from head coach Bret Bielema, also to Dan Enos and Paul Rhoads, as well as the upcoming outlook on the ball game this weekend versus the Auburn Tigers. And Demetrius, you had a chance to hear what Coach Enos had to say. Coach Bielema had to say in his opening statements. Talked about a lot of improvement, still yet a lot that needs to be worked on. But one thing that I took out of this ball game was how well Cole Kelly, the redshirt freshman, was able to step in such an environment. Homecoming, replacing fifth-year starter Austin Allen, and to get your first start in an atmosphere like that can only help you in your future going forward, don't you think?
I would definitely have to agree. I think Cole Kelly is really going to be an adamant part to this team. I think he's a young guy that really went in there and showed what he had. I think he did an excellent job doing that. And going on, I think there's some things that he can work on and take from this game, because I seen a few times where he kind of lost his mechanics and he got a little sloppy with his play. But I do think he really is the future of Arkansas, and really, I think Coach Beasley really said that he needs to get the pieces around him, such as tight ends, running backs. And I think Brett even went on to say coaches. So I think that's a key piece to Cole Kelly having a successful career here at Arkansas.
Yeah, that's one thing that I took away from the ball game as well, was just watching the energy throughout the entire football team. I thought, even though when you look at that 41 points, seems a lot, but the one thing that I can take from this weekend compared to last weekend was the competitive nature. I thought that for the first time all year long, I thought they had a great five-man front on the offensive line of Brian Wallace, right tackle, Frank Ragnall, right guard, Zach Rogers, center, Yeltsin Froholt, left guard, and Johnny Gibson, left tackle. Even though they were sacked 5 times, as was Cole Kelly, I just felt like there was just a little bit more chemistry, a little bit more push. Now, when you say that they ran for 27 yards, most teams are going to run for a lot, that much, if not even less, when you play a great defensive front in Alabama. But we caught up with offensive coordinator Dan Enos, and Dan's going to talk about just some things, the differences in defensive lines and things of that nature. Also, too, he talked about what he really, was impressed with Cole Kelly, and this is what Dan Enos had to say. With our audio from Coach Dan Enos that we'll bring to you momentarily as it's made available. But I want to go back to this offensive line. I've been one of those guys. I've been one of the biggest critics of this year's offensive line. Just didn't feel like they had the right chemistry. And like I was saying, when you look at the front, of what Alabama puts out each and every, Payne, Frazier, LeBron Ray, true freshman, Mr. Hand, he was out this week, but so many waves of big time future NFL prospect of type of defensive lineman that this offensive line was to face in their first game of all being a 5-man group in the heat of battle. Like I said, when you're playing the number 1 team in the country, I mean, you have very small room for error when you're making so many subtle, or I say game day adjustments. I thought Brian Wallace, having, been a guy that started all 10 games, the final 10 of last year, I thought he should have, in my own personal opinion, I'm not the coach, so I would never second guess what a coach that's around those guys a lot more than me would, have a judgment on. But I thought Brian Wallace was a guy that could have been inserted a lot earlier to give you that stability at the right type of spot. And I believe we have our audio with Coach Dan Enos corrected, and let's get a listen on what Dan had to say.
His poise and confidence and demeanor, the way he communicated and the way he responded to good plays and bad plays. Just kept bouncing back, kept competing. Loved his competitive nature, how hard he played. Got hit, stood in there, made some tight window throws. And I thought I saw him field very well. I thought he made, for the most part, made pretty good decisions. What was your analysis of the O-line changes and how they performed? I thought they were overmatched in there, I don't think it had anything to do with the changes, but just playing the front that we played and the guys in the Alabama uniforms. I thought they played a very physical, more physical game than we did. I thought they won the battle up front clearly.
There's a running game going as simple as playing somebody not Alabama, Auburn, obviously.
Auburn's very good. Auburn's very, very comparable. Not a lot of people run the ball very effectively like that either. Running the ball comes down to moving the guys up front, getting on people and getting movement, and playing on their line, on the side of the line of scrimmage, and not playing on your own side of the line of scrimmage. When you're able to do that, you're able to run the football. When you're not able to do that, it's very difficult.
I think Cole did in particular is there really wasn't much of a running game.
I thought he played very well. I think I base a lot of my stuff on obviously the communication that him and I had during the game. It's my 27th year as a coach. I've been playing quarterback before that since the 5th grade every year, and I've been in a lot of quarterback coaches' dialogues during the course of the game, if you will, and I can tell a lot about a guy, just how he's communicating with me, how he is, his mindset, his demeanor, what he's seeing, what he's not seeing. Again, I was talking to a very poised, confident player that the moment wasn't too big for him. He was communicating with me clearly what he was seeing. What he was seeing was then verified. That's what actually was happening, and he was making good decisions. He had, like I said, that defense will make you have plays. Every quarterback I watch play against that defense, there's plays where you go, oh my gosh, why did he do that? They just make you do that. They're very fast. They're very physical. They're very complicated. They do a great job pre-snap of showing you one thing and then after the ball snap giving you something different. And I thought Cole responded and handled those things as well as any freshman in his first start would do. And then I thought he made some tremendous plays too. The times that he made the ball downside their 5-yard line 3 times during the game, and a lot of that was because
That was offensive coordinator Dan Enos with his thoughts on just this past weekend's game, the performance of Austin Allen, also too what he thought about Brandon Martin. This is the guys I know, Demetrius and myself. Demetrius, we are two of the more encouraging, optimistic people in the media about Brandon Martin. Were you pretty impressed with what you saw? And 6 games left into the year. Do you feel pretty confident? Dan said he was confident last week in practice, but is this something that they can really incorporate Brandon Martin to be an even bigger part of the offensive scheme going forward?
Absolutely. We said it here multiple times. Brandon's easily the most physically gifted receiver over there in that locker room, and I think it's going to be an adamant part that they really incorporate him in the offense, just with the big play capability, especially alongside Nance. Nance is a receiver that's really developing, but he's going to need that second target that he can kind of lean on when things get kind of rough, and I think Brandon Martin is really an excellent target for that situation.
We want to welcome everyone that just tuned in to our live stream of On the Hill with Pat Jenkins as we're conducting our weekly, every Monday, we're going to have our weekly Hog Talking abbreviated show as we'll bring you up to date, let you hear audio, sound bites from what Coach Enos, what Coach Paul Rhoads, defense coordinator, what head football coach Bret Bielema has to say each and every Monday. And I want to make a note that we will be crossing over and giving you multiple information as the basketball fastest 40 version opens up its initial season with the red-white game this Friday night in Bud Walton Arena. I believe tip-off is for 7:30, but I'll get more information on that. Also, too, we're going to continue to take you up to kickoff this week with multiple big SEC games across the SEC. Alabama takes on Tennessee. That's a big ball game that we're going to pay close attention to, and multiple games throughout the conference leading you up. And then, of course, always, we're going to bring you up to date, up to minute coverage on Friday on the A. Be sure to check that out. As it's all Razorbacks, all recruiting, all up to the minute coverage to take you on up to kickoff. That will be taking place this Saturday at 6:30 in Donald W. Reynolds Razorback Stadium versus the Auburn Tigers. But I want to flip it over to my producer, Demetrius, and when you think about the offensive line versus yet another, it seems like each and every week this offensive line has faced a pretty dadgum good defensive line, and really more so in the SEC where multiple prospective pros play on that side of the ball. What's the status on the offensive line? I don't know if you got a chance to watch the LSU at Auburn game briefly, but what's your take on the offensive line this upcoming week versus yet another stout front?
I really will say that I'm pretty comfortable with the move that moving Frank Ragnow to left tackle. I really believe that move should have been made a lot earlier, knowing the background of the offensive line. We've said it multiple times, left tackle is the most important position on the field. And for Frank to be the best lineman we have, I think that was on the smart thing and right thing to do with moving to left tackle, especially with the punishment Brandon Allen's taken from this year and last year.
When we talk about punishment, we caught up with defensive coordinator Paul Rhoads. Paul gave us an update, just a total analysis of what he thought about this past weekend's game, and this is what Paul had to tell us.
Yeah, horrible start. Nobody scripts that one. To start in that fashion, and one of our keys to victory in the game was to maintain our poise, and I think we did exactly that. After that horrendous start, and answered the sudden change situation that came up next, and forced them to kick a field goal when it could have been drastically worse. Gave up a touchdown drive that followed that, and then into the final drive in the first half, I thought we did some really good things as a defense. We played really good defensive football, and the same thing was true, I thought, the second half at times. Got there to the end, and when the outcome was probably already in hand, and we let off the gas a little bit. You never want to do that as a defensive. You want to play as hard as you possibly can the entire length of the game. 41 points is too many points, and the amount of yardage we gave up was too many yards. We gave it up against an outstanding football team, and continue to learn in the process, and I think improve. There was a period of time.
That was defensive coordinator Paul Rhoads here at the University of Arkansas. Gave us his take on just how he felt about this past weekend's performance. How big is it that this defense on Saturday, Demetrius, cleans up the little technical? It just seems like there's a missed angle here, a poor assignment here. And it just, on defense, when you take bad angles, as Coach Bielema stated earlier in his presser that we let you get audio from, when you make bad mistakes, you're always going to get caught on defense. I mean, how can this Arkansas defense clean up a lot of the little small mistakes that are costing them yet so many points?
You know, I think it's really just attention to detail, just taking that little second to really clear the air and really take some time to study the playbook and just the assignments that Paul Rhoads has for them.
Well, I mean, when you look at this ball game, in my opinion, Demetrius, as we're about to wrap up today's show here in a few minutes, look at the schedule. You've got Arkansas. They've got Auburn this weekend. You travel to Ole Miss. You come back, you have Coastal Carolina. You're on the road in Death Valley versus LSU, but then you close out at home with Mississippi State and with Missouri. When you look at this Auburn schedule, now in the gauntlet, we all talk about it in the SEC. You're going to have about a 3 or 4 week period where it's going to get really, really tough for you, and you'll find out a lot about yourself. Auburn leaves after they play Arkansas. Then they played LSU. They're going to play Arkansas. They're going to go to at Texas A&M. So they've been on the road at LSU, Arkansas, and A&M. And then they'll come back and at home and try to hold off a great Georgia Bulldogs football team. When you look at that schedule real quick, Demetrius, what's your take? What does Auburn come out in that 4 week stretch? You know, Arkansas is going through their 4 week stretch, almost at the tail end of it. You know, and now Auburn's just now heading into their 4 week stretch. What is your take on that when it seems like both of them 3 out of 4 on the road?
You know, I think just speaking on Gus Malzahn's game, he's going to need to at least win 3 of those 4 games, you know, especially losing to LSU this last week to a very close game. And I think he's going to start with that Arkansas game. I think a lot of people are expecting Gus Malzahn to really suffer that as a win. So it's important that his ball club comes out and plays good. But I think it's equally as important for, you know, Bret Bielema to come out to win. But in your opinion, you know, who needs this win more? Is it Auburn or Arkansas? Because right now, you know, Gus, people say he's on the hot seat. People say he's not. But I think Gus is kind of feeling it out there. What do you think?
I think without question, Arkansas. Without question, when you're in a situation and you're Gus, I mean, you're Bret Bielema, you're 10 and 25 at a particular school, and they're paying you some odd $4 million to put a winning product on the football field. Now, I think you have SEC talent at certain spots. Now, am I going to sit here and say is it all the way across the board? I can't say that because I do think they're still deficient a little bit at linebacker and a little bit on your defensive front and your offensive line. I think you're okay at running back, tight end, wide receiver. But I think you're a little deficient at your safeties. So I think what has to happen, I think another game on national TV, Arkansas is going to have to win this Saturday, protecting really home field advantage. I mean home field because now if you lose Saturday, that's 2 nationally televised games that you drop versus TCU, and then you dropped at Auburn. And then the second question to that part, Demetrius, it's going to be also how Arkansas competes. You know, will they put their best foot forward and make it a game, or will this just be a situation where so many times we've watched them adversity hits and this team just doesn't do well in very stressful situations? But hopefully they can get over the hump. Arkansas is one of those programs, it just seems like the snake bit, Demetrius. You know, when they get certain junctures in a game where they have to make a play, it goes totally opposite against them. I thought the opening play of the game on Saturday with the 75-yard run from Harris, that was a big backbreaker if you really think about it. But that's going to conclude today's show. And we'll start it off with a lot of SEC football. Maybe even throw a little basketball. Who knows what we'll do. But we'll make it special. You can guarantee that it'll be real and uncut. Want to thank our sponsors, Lindsay & Associates, with location in Fayetteville. Locations also 2 in Rogers. Lindsay & Associates. We bring great neighbors together. Locomotion. You can catch them just located just below the Northwest Arkansas Mall in Fayetteville. Also 2 Fun City. You can catch them just off the 412 bypass in Springdale, Arkansas. And be sure if you don't get a chance to hear us each and every day on our live stream of On the Hill, catch us in the evenings on iHeartRadio. That's where you'll find each and every day's top segment of OTH on iHeartRadio. Until tomorrow, it's On the Hill with Pat Jenkins. You guys have a blessed one.